Good morning, everyone. Shanna, apogee of the moon, right? Weekly forecast. I never know what to say. I really don't. Try to change it up, but I'm like, I'm running out of ideas here, and my goofy sense of humor is probably not everyone's cup of tea, even if it is mine, because it's my sense of humor. So I will share my screen just like I do every week, and we will go over the general energies. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to go through all 12 signs, but the upcoming week is going to be very interesting and a little intense. It might not start out that way, but there will be rumblings in the beginning. So I'll share my screen and then we'll jump in to what is going on. So this is the week of September. What week is it? I don't know what week it is. September 19th through the 25th. So this encompasses the Sun's day through Saturn's day, right? Sunday to Saturday. So on the 20th, which is Monday, we do have Mercury and Jupiter coming into an exact trine around the same time as this full moon. And so it's Pisces full moon. So speaking of relationships, right, with groups of people, Mercury in Libra, in trine with Jupiter in Aquarius, can see conversations around how we relate to the groups, to the people, to the organizations, to our own long range plans, goals, and really the dreams that we have, the future goals and orientations that we have in this lifetime. So the trine of these two planets is really harmonious and really beautiful. People with this in their natal charts are great orators. They can marry the details with the big picture for a well-rounded, thorough conversation, as well as, getting information and getting pieces of information to be able to put that big picture together. So this can also see us speaking about what it is that we value, what we keep close to our hearts, and also how we can interrelate with the collective of society at large. Apparently, I can't speak today. Take 2 of this video. And that's why I don't have a lot of time. So how our value system affects those around us, and how we can shape a community using balanced and diplomatic thoughts, words, rally like-minded individuals towards a common and collective goal for the betterment of humanity as a whole. Now, the Pisces full moon, again, we are still squaring those eclipse points, right? So the solar eclipse points from December of 2020 and of June 2021. So we're in that realm of in between, because June was at 19 degrees of Gemini, and the December eclipse was at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. So new beginnings in both ends, something from the past coming back, something in the future that needs to be, brought in and acclimated, brought in and assimilated into our current paradigm, our current reality, right? So we're at the in-between. It's a place of between, right? So it's like almost like a portal, an amalgamation of energies, if you will. And it's the pivot, the release of old dogma towards a new and yet unfathomable paradigm that is incoming, right? And we won't really know the full extent of this for probably another couple years. This full moon is also with Neptune. So Neptune's still hanging out in Pisces. So we need to be very clear with what it is that we truly need and want to release, and what it is we can finalize, put down, put to bed, and be done with. But we need ourselves, right? The sun is our soul's expression. So we ourselves need to be very clear in this very Virgoan area of our chart. We ourselves need to be very clear of what it is that we need to let go in that Piscean area of our chart, right? Or, fruition. So, with both the sun in in these two signs of Virgo and Pisces, geez, we can look at, Mercury and Jupiter in trine on this same day as an easy goal or the low-hanging fruit, from the universe. So nothing is by chance. Chance is but the universal law not recognized. as of yet in the full form that it will take. So thank you, Miss Griselda Pacheco, Priestess Lumen Sophia, for the Hermetic laws, the Hermetic principles that she embodied before she started teaching, right? So the basic truths of everything that permeates our reality, not just astrology, but also the Hermetic laws. So check her out. She's on the Lilith Society. You can find the link in the description box below. So with Mercury also in close proximity to the square of Pluto at this full moon, we can definitely be assured that the culmination and the deep transformative and regeneration of the views, the mind, the thoughts on where we are going and what it is we need to let go of to move forward will be precise, calculated, and yeah, exacting. So with the sun in the waning trine to Pluto, we can actually still utilize this energy as well to get deeply into our own foundations at this full moon and use the magical properties of Neptune. We can really manifest into reality with the sun in Virgo, the practical things that we want to bring, bring into and even bring forward and birth into this reality. Just saying. It's magical times, everybody, magical times. So then on the 22nd, we do have Mercury in square with Pluto and the sun moving into Libra. So happy birthday, Libra. Happy solar return. If this is your sun, if this is your ascendant or your moon, you're going to be revitalized and refreshed, and your focus is going to be here on either some emotional things, or the focus is going to be on you, your physical self, your physical body, right? So with Mercury in square with Pluto, we can be very deep and intense with our perceptive qualities, right? And so this can be arguments, dangerous arguments at that, very profound and deep truths can come to light. This can also see very focused, very pointed, and very direct communication, which is like laser focus, right? With that Pluto energy. Though it may try to be balanced because Mercury is in Libra and wants to maintain balance at all costs. We may be forced into something, right? Because Pluto is very forceful at times, and it can be, very in Capricorn, very controlling from the top down. So it may be forceful, abrasive, and challenging, because of Pluto in Capricorn. So the intense conversations on this day can definitely shake the very foundation on which any relationship is set upon. So beware and beware. Be aware and beware on this day, around this time next week. The sun enters Libra, so happy equinox to everyone. This is, the sun is in its fall position, no pun intended, or maybe it was, who knows. But this is definitely the descent into the darker parts of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. And this is an ascent, or the rising of the sun in the Southern Hemisphere. So spooky times, spooky times. So this is when the veil starts to thin and death and the other side make themselves known to all. The gateway to the underworld is now ajar as Persephone descends into the halls below. And all things very creepy and crawly and extra come out to play, right? Who doesn't want a little bit of that? So here the sun will trine the North Node and Saturn, creating a grand air trine, right? We'll get there when we get there though. So this is also where Mercury will go retrograde, and it is slowing down, right? Because Mercury does go retrograde in square with Pluto. So we're going to be really honing in on this Plutonic energy in Capricorn here, and this relational Mercury that we have. So yes. And when Mercury does go retrograde, will conjunct the sun in the inferior conjunction. And, the sun and Mercury have some things that they need to talk about. They do, because of Mercury's travels of late, right? So we also on the 23rd have Venus opposing Uranus and Mars in trine with Saturn. So Venus is in her detriment in Uranus, Venus is in her detriment in Scorpio. Uranus is in fall in Taurus. By the way, did you know? So it's a very interesting mix of energies. Neither one is really functioning at its best, but with the sun, with the sun, with the square to Saturn, right? Like this is where it is. And Saturn is the stronger planet because it is in its home sign. Traditionally, Saturn is the focal point. So how, and it is stationing to go direct, by the way. Didn't you know? So how can we make radical, pointed, precise change to the status quo? What upheavals to our money and our values can happen? What restrictive and limiting behaviors from groups can we come up against? How can we feel safe and secure in our own relationships when suspicion and derision are rampant, right? And how can we take back our own power, our own resources, and how can we keep the incoming tide at bay, right? So Mars in trine with Saturn on this day too can see us asserting what is right, true, and just, standing up with valor for those that cannot. This can also see, some type of, it can see litigation here or mitigation or mediation on the behalf of those less fortunate, to the powers that be, plea to the masses, or even the masses standing for those that cannot stand for themselves. So this would apply, right, to whole groups of people with Saturn and Aquarius. And with Mars and Libra, I dub the Mars and Libra, the Justice League of placements. So fighting for the underdog and those that really cannot stand up or speak out on their own behalf. If there is something you see that has to do with the subjugation or the radical pressure on a group or a population, now is the time to stand and say, no, not right, and to fix it. So, in the world at large, this can definitely see people standing up for what is good for the masses in ways that we have yet not seen. Because Mars in Libra is very much about what is right, what is true, what is just, and what is balanced and what is fair. And so if there is any kind of tipping of the scales, right, because Libra is all about balance, if there is any type of unfairness, unjustness happening, Mars is the planet to tip the scales back the other way. So to kind of take action to rebalance, right? Like that's how I see Mars in Libra. And it's also where I have my personal Mars. So I know this energy very well. Very well. It can be a little passive aggressive at times, right? Like a little seething if, things don't go. But for the most part, it is more about the balance. At least in my chart, it's more about the balance. And so, yeah, that is what I have for you. And that is all I will be doing today because I had to record this for a second time and I was about halfway through. And yes, technology can be a little bit of a pain in my butt for sure. So I do hope that next week I'll be able to actually get out all 12 signs. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just go over the general energy. I don't know. But I will try next week to not ramble on like I did both in this one and in the previous one that I tried to record, because apparently 5 o'clock in the morning is not the time for me to record things. Okay. So have a good week. Stay safe. Let me know in the comments if you watch this and, give me a thumbs up if you watched it. Subscribe if you feel so called. And yeah, good luck. Stay safe. And if you hear the call to stand up for what is right, true, and just, stand up for what's right, true, and just. That's all I got to say. All right. Bye, people.